What is happening is customer satisfaction today is becoming proactive, preemptive, and predictive with analytics and big data. So big data, with its volume, its velocity, and with its variety, is coming at us rapidly, right? And what we're doing with it is getting insight on how to talk to consumers in real time. So what we're able to do today is have better machines, have machines that self-maintain, that let manufacturers, even OEMs like Samsung, know that this part is about to wear out. Or look at the automotive industry. Today, Audi can actually call you and tell you that, hang on, this time for your next service, because they know exactly what your onboard computer in your car is telling them in the service office. So customer satisfaction is going to become a far more proactive industry. It's going to become far more reliant on instant data, and data that will shake the bedrock of service as we know it. So I've mentioned SOLOMO, social, local, and mobile. I want to mention predictive analytics and what's called proactive intelligence. I want to mention inventory management. So the problem with sold out issues in stores, well, if you have intelligent store shelves, you're not going to have sold out issues in stores. You're going to have in-store interactions and the possibilities of CRM. You're going to have delivery updates. So if your package is running late from Amazon or Aramex or whoever it is, you'll know exactly on your phone, on your wearable, that that little RFID is transmitting data. And finally, I think you'll have sensors in everything that we do at home, so that every manufacturer, every customer service provider will know exactly where you're at with their product, with their service, and are able to preempt any negative feedback.
Superb. While Tom was talking, I was reminded of a very interesting episode that happened a few years back for an airline company called United Airlines. Some of you may remember this episode. There was this upstart, upcoming, songwriter, singer, who wasn't even known for his singing capabilities, but he was passionate about his guitar. And he was traveling United Airlines, and he wanted to carry the guitar with him. United refused to carry it as hand luggage. He very, very, humbly requested them to please ensure that they take care of the guitar. Long story short, the guitar went, the guitar came back, it came broken. This guy was broken beyond, consolation. He went home, sat with his friends, and sung a song which said, United breaks guitars. And since the YouTube was allowing people to upload their own videos, he uploaded the video saying, United breaks guitars. Within a few days, millions of people had seen it. They added their own tale of woe, saying that United not only breaks guitars, it breaks boxes, it breaks hearts, it breaks all kinds of things. Now, this is where the world is moving, which means think about now when sensors are tracking every single moment, which means companies can't afford even a single second or moment where you can let the customer, have bad service. I mean, gone are the days when companies could get over with it and get away with blue murder when it comes to customer service. I think the future, at least for the customer, is going to be brighter thanks to IoT. My last question to the last member of the panel, Amar Salim. Now there are new kinds of alliances and collaborations that are required. We know the phenomenon of Wikinomics, worldwide global collaboration across industries, across sectors. What's happening in the space of Internet of Things? Amar.
We estimate it is a $19 trillion at stake. What that means is there is $19 trillion worth of increased productivity, reduction of cost and management, increased revenue opportunities. Out of the $19 trillion, I just want to tell everybody here, the consumer portion is less than $1 trillion. The industrial portion is more than $18 trillion. So the wearable devices and all of that is the end touch point that we engage with on a daily basis, but the value that is being created out of this industry is on the industrial side, is on the airlines, on the manufacturing, is on the auto industry, is on the public sector, how cities are being managed, how lighting is being delivered, and so on and so forth. There is huge opportunity to integrate the digital and the physical infrastructure. Given how big this opportunity is, no one company or no one country can do this alone. And therefore, there are lots of big conglomerates that are joining together and trying to create ecosystems to leverage this opportunity, whether it's being on the analytics side, on the connectivity side, on the app side, on the device side, on the wearable side, or whatever it is, to cooperate together to create the right value for the consumer at the end of the day. So you find consortiums, you find that are going after opportunities, working together on integrating technologies to create a product. We work with pretty much everybody around the panel here. As far as Cisco, we're leaders in this industry, and we have a program that is dedicated just to create these ecosystems in order for us to be able to work on these opportunities. So the most important for me is how the public, the private, and the educational world will work together. So the academic world needs to work with the private sector sector needs to work with the public sector, and all of them have to work for the people and with the people.
And I think the good thing is that the trend has already started, at least a decade or back. We had these new collaborations that started coming in. And so the metaphors within the business landscape are actually changing. Now competition is becoming redundant. We're talking about co-opetition, which is cooperating with your competition. We even have a nice term for enemies turned into friends. We call them frenemies. And I think the world is moving towards new kinds of collaborative models. And it's imperative because you can't do it alone. You need to. And some of you may be familiar that Boeing pioneered it in the aerospace industry, where they actually take only 7 days to actually completely fit out a complete full-bodied Boeing Dreamliner because of the collaboration that they do with thousands of suppliers and designers across the world. So I think we've had a fascinating discussion. I'm going to throw open the floor for you, the esteemed audience. But before we do that, I also want to digress philosophically for a few seconds. Well, this is great. I mean, this is the way the future is going. Technology is going to give us such a fascinating, satisfying experience. But what about free will? What about the sense of play? What about human control? What about privacy and security? These are concerns that are looming large, and we don't really have clear answers for them. But I'd like to throw open the floor for the audience. You can raise your hands. There are people here, volunteers, who would give you the mic, and then you introduce yourself, ask the questions.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. It was a very fascinating discussion. Thank you for the same. My name is Shri Krishna. I am from Landmark Group. If you are not very familiar with Landmark Group, it is Centerpoint, Baby Shop, and all those brands. I am working in the IT department, specifically on the IT optimization, innovation, etc. And Internet of Things is one of the interesting areas for us also. And just would like to share one more thing before asking a question. That in retail supply chain, definitely there seems to be a lot of opportunities because of Internet of Things. One of the examples could be a smart supply chain, where like one of the examples taken, that auto replenishment from warehouse to store. Not only that, there are a lot of other opportunities throughout the entire supply chain. So this is kind of going to add a lot of value for all the retail businesses as a whole. It looks very promising. One of the things that I would like to ask is that, being a very nascent area coming up, the right type of skill set is not very sure. Like whether the Internet of Things engineer needs to be a Java engineer or he has to be an apps, that's not very clear. If you could address that part, it will be great.
This point, I think what's really going to be behind IoT is not software or hardware. It's going to be mindware, people.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's a critical dimension.
Yeah,
Human dimension, yes, please.
I think implementation is just a side aspect. What counts is the idea, as everybody said. So interworking or cooperation to make it open and secure is the most important thing, and then implementation is just a small detail.
Yes, I'm Valerie Schaefer, CEO of Recycle Beacon, and we've developed a smart city sensor plus a mobile app, which is essentially gamifying recycling and at the same time collecting business intelligence to ascertain patterns where the waste management companies or governments can focus their efforts. What I was wondering is, what do you think about, it's essentially the carrot versus the stick, whether you make a law to have people recycle or do you reward people? So how is the Internet of Things going to change that?
Very interesting question. Who'd like to take that? Amar?
Yeah, I'll take a crack at that, because one of the important things we say in the journey of transformation, or the journey of adopting the Internet of Everything as we look at it, is there are 5 key elements. One of them is definitely what we call smart regulation. Smart regulation is about looking at your existing regulatory framework and how do you leverage technology and whatever new innovation coming into play to adapt your regulatory framework to allow for this to deliver value to your citizens. This is one of the key things. Now, for recycling specifically, whether it's a carrot or a stick, I think it's both. You need to reward, and at the same time, you need to penalize. So,
I just want to bring a behavioral dimension to this discussion. Rewards, carrots, and sticks are all fine, but if you can give people, intelligent human beings, a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose, what they do is significant. What difference it's going to make when they recycle waste, I think that will go a long way than just penalizing. Of course, we need to have the carrot and stick, but beyond that, it could be the purpose, the significance.
But I think human beings are also moving up the pyramid of needs.
Yeah.
And I think when you've applied gamification techniques, so you're basically doing reward mechanisms. Yes, I agree that it's a balance between carrot and stick, but I think human beings like carrot better than stick. We're rabbits.
I think with
We're
rewards,
rabbits both in eating carrots and in procreating.
I think you need to have the carrot before the stick. I think that is definitely
Interesting. Yes, the gentleman there, sir? That's right.
Oh, thank you very much. My name is Mike Otten. My fancy title is CCO, but basically I take care of customers. So I heard a lot of buzzwords and very common concepts and examples. I hear slogans like Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, industrial smart. I get really, really confused, I must say. I think there's a big war going on outside there about who are going to have the biggest muscle of the IoT. But a very basic question I actually have. We are in the ecosystem of bringing the physical objects to the ecosystem of Internet. And we are in discussion with a lot of governmental institutions over here in Dubai. And first question we got, you have a cloud application? Yes? So there's a lot of concerns about security, local data storage, and how to handle those kind of activities. There are some interesting developments right now going on the market, like hybrid cloud solutions. Is any of the panel members could maybe give some recommendations on that, on where the audience actually should focus going forward, instead of just dumping everything into the cloud? Because, great example, of course, about the baby and the hacker entering and having a camera in your pill and so on. But it will not be in the cloud in the future, I think.
I can
Yes.
take it. Thank you. So when we talk actually within IBM, so for this time I was talking about myself, or from myself, my opinion, this is from IBM. We created what we call CAMS, Cloud, Analytics, Mobile, Social, and Security. Okay, this is the ecosystem that we actually help the environment around Internet of Things. And yes, I have the same feedback from customers when we talk about cloud. The first reaction will be, no way. I will not put my data into the cloud. However, there is what you mentioned also, the hybrid cloud. There's the private cloud. There is a different type of technology that will actually move forward what we call cloud. The thing is exactly like the technology we are talking about today, about the Internet of Things, wearable devices, computers, that cloud will not be stoppable. We will need cloud. Why? So when we talk about all this amount of data will be collected from the huge number of devices, as my colleagues here mentioned, there will be no enough storage. There will be no enough power or CPU power. It's your company to manipulate, to analyze, to predict, to send, to feedback, to communicate with this amount of data. You need that, right? So I think the need of that will be like it's on demand. Whenever I need some data to be analyzed, I will be using the cloud, right? And then whatever is private or where is some security aspect of the information of the data I have, I will keep it on premises. So I think it will be like a moving target for now, but cloud is happening.
Interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, we've run out of time, and we want to thank you. One of the big challenges, which is what we call a post-lunch session, In academia, we call it the graveyard shift, because keeping a group of people awake and alive post-lunch is not one of the easiest things. You've been a fabulous audience. I actually observed not a single one of you slept through the presentations or the discussion. So that was good. So I want to first of all congratulate each one of you. Thank you very much. A big round of applause for each one of you for being such an enthusiastic audience. I want to thank my esteemed panel members. 1 minute, sir. I want to thank my esteemed panel members, Amr, Irsan, Hussein, Tom, and Ayman, for being part of this absolutely lively, enthralling discussion. I want to leave you with just one small story, one small thought, probably carry it. This was British Post a few years back. They had launched this automatic stamp vending machines in order to cut down on the long queues behind postal counters. So there was this old lady who was standing way back at the queue, and the nice-natured post office executive came across to the old lady and told her, "Ma'am, we have something very good for you. We have this automatic stamp vending machine. Why don't you just use the machine so that you can cut down on the queue?" And the lady looked at him very sheepishly and told him, "You know what? The machine is not going to inquire about my arthritis." Ladies and gentlemen, the Internet of Things can come around and technology can move around, but at the end of the day, we are human and we will remain human. God bless you, and take a lovely afternoon break. Thank you very much.
Got another technology error. Okay, I must say that was very interesting. Thank you very much to the panelists. Just to remind you all that going forward, we have 2 more workshops lined up in the next hour: app user engagement and monetization, and what is the future of education. Do join us. Thank you very much for being present this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.